to come out like this and just, I mean, they're insane. They're insane. That's all you could say about them. I mean, their lineup from top to bottom is up there with the Braves and the Dodgers and the. I mean, they're really hitting the ball very well. And then
Yeah.
it's hard to. That they were surprising as hell.
I'm going to. Yeah, Texas Rangers are definitely a big surprise, and a big part of that. A big part of that is upgrading the pitching staff.
Oh, for sure.
Adding Jacob DeGrom, Nate Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney has been good, solid for them.
Right.
They still got John Gray there, but I'm looking at the biggest surprise. I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates, man, and I thought they would be bottom dwellers in the division again. I thought they would be I thought they would be just as bad as they were last year. They would be contending for the #1 pick, but I'm honestly, the Pirates have been so surprising this year that they're a team that's under the radar. They got a lot on their plate. Very weak division. That's why they get overlooked. But they're a solid baseball team if they had some pitching. I mean, they'd be one of the best teams in Major League Baseball if they had pitching.
I'm not overlooking the Pirates. The only thing that kind of shaded me away from the Pirates is April. They were amazing, but then once May hit, they kind of started to lose some more
I think
games.
A lot of that is their pitching took a step back, and then they started out strong their pitching, and then their pitching just lost it. I think that's a big factor in this.
Help nothing. That does not help anything. And then, of course, they've had some injuries to their pitching as well. They don't have Brubaker right now.
Alright, I got some topics. Okay.
My next... Yeah, but we'll do yours after I do mine.
Yeah.
So you said Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. Yep.
Alright. Next is a very controversial, and it's literally the opposite. Who has been the biggest disappointment this year? I have a tie. I have a tie between the Cleveland Guardians and the San Diego Padres. The Cleveland Guardians, I expected them, and part of it was what I expected from them. I expected them to come out and just beat down that division. I thought the only team that was going to remotely test them was possibly going to be the Twins or the White Sox, but I still thought to me the Guardians. I'm using the formal term on this because it's a podcast, but to me the Guardians, I thought by now should be atop of that division, one of the best teams in the American League. So far right now, I think they're third in that division.
Yeah.
Yep. They've been kind of disappointing to start the year off, and that's not to say that they won't turn it around. I think they will turn it around. They have too much of a talented team to not turn it around.
All right, I'm gonna say my point of view on this topic here as a Cleveland fan. Cleveland's definitely been lackluster. Their pitching has gotten better, and they're scoring more runs. They've scored more runs since the month of May. They averaged in the month of April. They had 82 runs. It had 82 runs at the end of the month of April, but now they have 178. They've scored more runs since the beginning of May, and part of that I think is because weather's getting warmer. Being in the north is a lot harder on the baseball players in the north when you're in the north.
Progressive Field is not really a hitter's park either.
And you still have the end. You still have the end of the winter. Another downfall of Cleveland is Jose Ramirez. He has been an average hitter at best in the month of April.
He came through today.
He came through today, and he's starting to get. And what a big part of his success last year was because he got runners on base. Ahmed Rosario and Stephen Kwan were the top two in that thing. Now, Kwan's been able to get on base. Rosario's just... I mean, Rosario's been... he's been lackluster, man. He's been chasing too much outside the zone. He's trying too much. He's trying to go for more of the long ball this season, and that's not what we're paying him to do. A positive, but these are positive notes. I'm just going straight off the mind here. Cleveland has been good since the month of May started, and they're 3.5 out of the division. They got a big series win here today against St. Louis. They just need to carry that momentum and they need to build on that. I think they have their best pitchers on the mound going into Baltimore. I get Baltimore's going to be tough.
You guys will get Tristan McKenzie back.
We're going to be getting Tristan McKenzie back. I believe after this road trip. Cervalli will be coming back sometime this road trip, either Minnesota or Baltimore. I don't know exactly when that is. So, but they both done well in the minors. They both done well throwing when on their rehab starts. I mean, McKenzie's ahead of schedule. McKenzie is ahead of schedule. We're just giving them an extra start in the minors, just so we don't risk anything further. But yeah, the Tigers' fall off's gonna come. When you look at the Tigers, they're gonna fall. Their fall off's gonna come. It'll come. They're getting a little early season rally here. The Twins are gonna be the contender there for Cleveland. The rest of the way.
So the second part of my tiebreaker was the San Diego Padres. That's just self-explanatory. They added pitching, they added depth, they added some people could even say that they thought San Diego was going to win the division. And like I say, granted, they could turn it around. Everybody can turn it around. It's still early in the year. But you have Fernando Tatis Jr., you have Juan Soto, Manny Machado's now on the IL from a hit by pitch. Jake Cronenworth can be good at times. And then that lineup is disgusting. Xander Bogaerts was hot in the month of April. And then once the month of May hit, he's kind of slowed down. But it's that there's no real weakness in that lineup. I guess you could say there's a couple weaknesses in every lineup, and that's true. I mean, that there is a couple weaknesses overall in Padres lineup, with obviously their catching position. Austin Nola isn't the best hitter in the world, but I mean they're just very disappointing, and you could even argue they're more disappointing than Cleveland. Yeah, as simple as that.
I want to talk about their pitching for a minute. Their pitching is one of the league's worst in baseball right now among ERA as a unit. And part of that has been their bullpen. Their back end of the bullpen has been good with, Josh Hader had a bounce back year. Tim Hill's been solid. But other than that, their bullpen has been abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. They can't stay in games. Blake Snell has not been able to give them any help at all starting pitching. I mean, he's going out there
since 2019.
He's going out there. He's going out there every 5 days and throwing cookies right down the middle, and it's just every hitter's just saying, boom,
he needs
boom,
to be
shake,
gone.
Shake.
It's Padres. He needs to go.
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of him.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll start. My biggest I also have two ties here. First biggest disappointment is the St. Louis Cardinals.
They were my third biggest disappointment, but they didn't make the top two.
Nolan Arenado has been so lackluster. Paul Goldschmidt does not look like the same player he was a year ago.
He's shown some bright spots.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's showing bright spots, but he does not look like the same player that won the MVP a year ago. Adam Hazley has been struggling. He has a 4 ERA.
hasn't been doing too good.
Their pitching has been struggling. Jordan Hicks has a 15 ERA. Giovanni Gallegos has been their only staple there. He has only allowed 4 runs this whole year.
He has became their closer. He has became their closer at this point because everybody else has lost their groove.
Jack Flaherty has been solid at times. The biggest thing I look at with him this year, he's allowed 78 walks. Or not 78, 34 walks. 34 walks. That's among most out of every single starting pitcher in Major League Baseball right now.
That's terrible.
And finding the strike zone is pretty much the key to being a big start. Now Flaherty's been good. Flaherty's been solid. He's been able to get out of some things. 3 ERA is not bad. 58 strikeouts, a 1.53 WHIP, and a 3-4 record. That's not terrible. I mean, he's giving St. Louis their best start. And when he's their best start every 5 days, I mean, Jordan Montgomery has a 5 ERA. He's been abysmal.
And the thing is, he was solid last year. He just hasn't showed up this year.
I think the biggest flaw with him is he's an ace. He's their ace of the staff. And he's never meant to be an ace. He's a guy that's supposed to be your 3. Maybe a 4.
And then you got Miles Michaelis, who
has been horrendous.
He's been awful.
4 ERA, 48 strikeouts, 1 point. The whip's low. Whip's low at 1.39. 3-1 win-loss record's pretty decent, but you can't rely on your offense to do everything, man. And then that's been the Cardinals' big struggle. And another, Genis Cabrera. 7 ERA?
Yeah, that's bad.
I mean,
I do want to say this about the Cardinals, though, and it's regarding one player. I will say they do have they should be happy about the way Nolan Gorman's playing. He's been phenomenal this year.
Another player I want to give a huge shout out to is Lars Nootbaar. He's batting at .268 with 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a .775 OPS. He has walked so many times in the majors this season. He has 29 walks. He's been walked 29 times.
Yeah.
That's among top 10 in Major League Baseball currently. And that's a good thing. He's been he's their guy at the top of the order. He's like that Steven Kwan that gets on base, probably either puts the ball in play or walks. I mean,
and that's productive. It's like a Luis Arraez.
I mean, he's out there to hit home runs. I mean, he's a leadoff hitter for a reason. Another disappointing team I want to talk about is the Toronto Blue Jays. Being last in their division right now.
In a very tough division, though. Let's point that out.
Yeah. That's why I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here. The hitting. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has lost every bit of power that he's ever had.
He's been good through all of April and a little bit of May, but he's just been cold lately.
Currently, as the date stands, he's batting at .284, 8 home runs, 34 RBIs with an .812 OPS.
And that's not bad, but comparing to what he had...
That's not bad numbers at all. He is a power hitter. He's lost every bit of power he's ever had.
Comparing to what he had, I think he was hitting .330 at one point, though.
8 home runs, that's not good. That's not... I mean, he's supposed to be the guy that fires the fire. One of the bright spots of the Blues, give a shout-out to Bo Bichette. That dude has been playing out of his mind for Toronto. Same with Matt Chapman. 2 players I didn't think...
Shouts out to Matt Chapman, bro. People have always shat on him because of his hitting. Oh, he can't hit... He's really proved.
I mean, he's not a power hitter by any means, but 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, 851 OPS, and a 285 average. That's good for him. That year right there is his career batting average total. He's batting .285 for his whole career.
He hit 364 last month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
He went a little cool in the month of May, but he's been still effective nonetheless. Alejandro Kirk has been disappointing, to say the least. He's not getting on base nearly enough. Calvin Biggio, geez Louise, 160 batting average. Like,
he got sent down. He was sent down at one point this season. He wasn't even on the Major League roster.
Brandon Belt's been decent for a 35-year-old. I do have to say that, though.
Yeah, he's producing everything that he should be producing at 35.
Yusei Kikuchi, I mean, besides ERA, he hasn't been bad. He has pitched 51 innings, 51.1 innings. He has a 5-2 record, a 4.56 ERA, 48 strikeouts, and 1.38 WHIP. He's pitched not bad. His ERA is a little high. But what I noticed about him is his walks are down this year. He's not walking. Here we go. And that's been a big part of helping him. Anthony Bass has been terrible for the Blue Jays. Adam Simber has been good. Barrios has been inconsistent, but he's been good since the month of May started.
If you are the Blue Jays and you want to contend, you need to make some moves on that roster at the deadline.
And the fact is they have a GM that can do it. Former Cleveland Indians GM Mark Shapiro. At the time they were the Cleveland Indians, whatever you want to call them now. I still call them the Indians, but at the
I
time
only call them the Guardians to be formal.
At the time they were the Cleveland Indians that Mark Shapiro left, and yeah, those have been the big disappointments I've noticed so far this year in Major League Baseball.
Okay. Another very interesting, and this might get people riled up, the biggest fraud. So these are teams that are really good right now, or decent right now, that you just see through the bullshit. Like, you just see through it, and you're like, they're not going to do anything dangerous at the end of the day. For me, listen, I like this team, and I like the atmosphere surrounding the team. I enjoy watching their games. It's fun to watch their games. But when I say this, I mean this. My biggest fraud so far is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I said this last year also. They are great in the regular season, but they are in the postseason. They just fade out. I see it again this year, and I see it's even worse. I don't think they have as much pieces to even get past the NLDS this year.
They may not even make out of the wild card depending on who they play.
I don't know. I think this is the weakest Dodgers team in the past 3 years. Now, granted, I think they still are going to definitely make the playoffs for sure. They're a great team. Winning in the regular season, they're phenomenal. And they're going to continue to be the regular season Dodgers phenomenal team we know. Like I said, this is no hate towards the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers. Like I said, I like their atmosphere. I like LA. I like the Dodgers. But I'm just trying to be brutally honest here. I think they're frauds. I don't see them going that far, and they may not even make it out the NLDS. So yeah, that's my biggest fraud so far.
Well, when I think of frauds, group chat, if you're watching this, I'm gonna be flat out here. I'm not talking about the New York Yankees. I'm talking about the New York Mets. The Mets were a team that was so hyped up by their fan base, hyped up by many other fan bases too. I didn't see the Mets. They went out and spent over, let me get the number here, $485 million in pitchers that are the age 34 and over.
They could have got Carlos Rodon, and they settled for Verlander.
They could have got Carlos Rodon for cheaper.
And he's younger.
Granted, injuries with him, they're always a question. I get that.
But when he's healthy.
But when he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And we've seen that with the San Francisco Giants. Justin Verlander has not been the same player he was last year. That won the Cy Young. That led the league in strikeouts. He has been a disappointment. Max Scherzer has been disappointment at times. He's turning it around now.
When he's on, he's on.
But
when he's bad, he's bad.
Carlos Carrasco.
I was about to say Kodai Senga is probably the biggest fraud on the player.
Jesus fucking Christ. Carlos Carrasco, you are terrible. I loved you at Cleveland. I still love you to this day. But Jesus Christ, man, it's time to retire. 36 years old. It's bad. Kodai Senga has been decent at times. I get it, he's a rookie.
But then when he's bad, he's really bad.
Yeah. I get it, he's a rookie. He's still time to develop. Drew Smith has been good. He's been one of the best bullpen arms among ERA. Same with David Robinson. He's been pretty solid. Adam Ottavino.
Awful.
A 4.58 ERA. A guy that you paid $20 million per year.
Point this out. Can I point this out?
Go for it.
You know how we say he's a rookie, right? Kodai Senga, rookie. It's his rookie year. You know did you know the man is 30 years old?
Yeah.
And also he's played in Japan since 2011. He was professional in Japan. So all this hype surrounding him, and I'm just saying don't use that he's a rookie because he's experienced.
Alright, I was wrong about the cap hit here. I jumped the gun a little bit.
And he's already 30, so that's not. He's already 30. Yeah, I would say that's my second biggest problem.
I mean, the Mets had the highest payroll in all of Major League Baseball.
They have the richest owner in baseball, yes.
They have the richest owner in baseball, and they have the highest payroll out of anybody in baseball. Yet they're continuing to struggle. They did go on a 5-game winning streak for what? To lose a series to the Colorado Rockies? 11-10? Your offense has not been the problem. Your pitching is abysmal. This may be, and the Mets have always had strong pitching. That's always been their thing.
Right. That's always what, as a Braves fan, that is always what feared me the most facing them last year.
This has been the worst pitching from a Major League Mets team I have seen my entire life.
I mean, go look at their box scores. I mean, look at who's pitched, and you look at the guys that's pitched, and you're like, why the hell is he even on this team? They have a bunch of nobodies, really.
They've given up 256 runs allowed. 256 runs allowed. That's good for right around tied for 19th in Major League Baseball.
That's awful from the Mets
to a team that made the playoffs last year to barely being 500.
The only
I get it.
Bright spot on the Mets so far is Pete Alonso.
I get it. You Mets fans are going to yell at me. You Mets fans are going to yell at me. I'm 100% on board for that. But you guys got to wake up. Your pitching's a problem. I get it. It's early. It's early in the year. But now we're entering June. We're entering June and you haven't figured something out yet.
Yeah.
You have one of the highest scoring offenses in all of Major League Baseball. And your pitching can't have anything to show for it. That's what I think of when I think of frauds.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. So this isn't really a debate kind of thing. This is about more of a topic. The Tampa Bay Rays currently have the best record in baseball. They currently are the best team in baseball record-wise, and with another win against the Dodgers, they prove it again. Are they World Series contenders? Are they somebody you could see in the World Series in October? That's a good question, and I think so, yeah. I think they could. It's just their playoff history, and they kind of have the same team they've been having. I know they got to the World Series in 2020. Then after that, it's kind of been shaky in the postseason for the Rays. They went 18 innings last year and couldn't do nothing on offense. Through those 18 innings, managed to still lose the game. And then the year prior, losing, I believe, in the ALDS. Yeah, I don't know, but I could see them making it all the way, and I think this could be the year where they do. But it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot. You need Drew Rasmussen back. That's a big piece. And he will be coming back. He's on the 60-day IL. But he's a big piece that you need back. You need Tyler Glasnow to be consistent. You need Shane McClanahan to keep going. And you got to ride this through November. So I think they can, but we'll have to see. I think it needs to be seen.
So the question is, do I think the Rays are World Series contenders?
Yes.
The answer to that question, I think, is yes. Everybody called the Rays frauds last year. Ever since they lost to Cleveland in the wild card last year, everybody called them frauds. I never thought they were frauds. Their pitching was healthy, mostly last year. Despite even without Kyle Glasnow. But they were without a lot of their key pieces offensively during that playoff series. I mean, Wander Franco went down for the year.
He kind of had a down year last year in general.
Yeah. Randy Arozarena was not at his best last year.
And now he's back.
Yeah. And this is the highest scoring team in Major League Baseball. Yet, they have the second lowest payroll in all of Major League Baseball. Not saying that's a coincidence, but they have the
Rays. They build through their farm system, and they have mastermind coaches.
They are just like Cleveland. They build through their farm.
They're fundamentally sound. They're fundamentally sound.
I do think Tampa Bay's World Series contenders. They're going to be really nice in the future. They're going to be really nice.
And I will get to a topic that could bring their payroll up. We'll get to that later.
Just give it time. They got Wander Franco locked up for numerous years. They still got some time. They got time.
You Rays fans have something to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this website here. All your key players are locked up. McClanahan. Who else? McClanahan.
Obviously, Franco.
Rosarena. Walls. Series locked up. You still got like 4 years of arbitration on him. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot to look forward to.
The Rays are like the Braves with a less payroll. You have a bunch of unselfish players that are willing to take the money they get to keep building on the team and to keep getting better and to be able to keep the team going. the Rays and the Braves and, teams with unselfish players. That is the reason those two teams have been so successful. They've been able to keep those guys around without having to worry, is he going to leave because we're not giving him enough money? No, they want to stay and win. So yeah. Alright. Now we get to, who do you think is going to buy at the deadline? So this is going to be the biggest buyers at the trade deadline in the end of July. I actually didn't have this one prepared, so I'm going to kind of wing this answer. Of course, I think there's a few teams that could buy at the deadline.
You want me to go first on this topic?
Yeah, so I can think about it. Go ahead.
The first team I look at, I think it's going to be Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to be buyers at the deadline for starting pitching. They rank middle of the road in starting pitching. They rank 16th in Major League Baseball. Not good, could be better. There's probably some valuable starters, like the Twins might be willing to give away a starter in Kenta Maeda. I heard a trade on that today. Heard some rumors about that today. Kenta Maeda would not be bad. Eduardo Rodriguez for the Tigers, who's having a really nice year. The Tigers may be looking to ship him at the deadline. Cleveland may be looking to ship Shane Bieber. I don't know if that. This all depends if Cleveland re-signed him. I don't know about that, but he was brought up.
I don't think you should. I don't think you guys should get rid of him.
I don't think we will until this off season if we do. Another team. I mean, they got to be in the buying conversation. The New York Yankees. They always buy. They've been buyers my entire life.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
they've been buyers forever. I mean, you can go back to like the 70s. They've been buying since the 70s.
Another team, I think the Phillies are going to be buyers. I think the Phillies are going to be buyers. I think the Mets are going to be buyers. I think Miami's going to stay put. I think they'll let it ride out. Same with the Braves. I think they'll stay put. Maybe you may see like a minor league trade. The A's, I think they'll be sellers. The Angels, I think, will be buyers. The Mariners, I think, will be buyers. The Rangers, I think, will be buyers. The Houston Astros, I think, will be buyers. I think Cleveland could buy, but I think more than likely they'll stay the same. But they're in slightly towards that buy category because I've heard they might be aggressive a little bit this year at the deadline, departing record-wise and stuff like that with their new GM. I think Milwaukee will be buyers. I think the Cardinals will be buyers. I think the Pirates are going to stay put. I think the Pirates will stay put. I think the Reds will stay put. I think the Cubs will sell. I think the Dodgers will buy. The Cardinals or the Diamondbacks will buy. The Giants will buy. The Padres will buy. I think the Rockies will stay the same. I think the Nationals will buy, sell whatever they have left they can sell. I think the Royals could be sellers on their pitching, some of their pitching. I mean, they got a couple good bullpen arms that could be worth something. I think the White Sox will be sellers. I'm going to put Toronto and buy, and I'm going to put the Red Sox staying the same. I think they'll stay put. That's my input on that.
All right. Hold on.
I think Tampa Bay will stay put too. I forgot about Tampa Bay.
Alright, so I'm going to answer both questions since you basically gave them all your buyers and sellers. I think the biggest buyers at the deadline would be the Baltimore Orioles for starting pitching. That would be huge for Baltimore if they can get legit rotation.
That'd be huge for St. Louis too. They're gonna be in the market for pitching.
I will say, you know, when Baltimore gets John Means back, that'll definitely help. But they still need more than just John Means. Their bullpen is what's been winning them games.
And Grayson Rodriguez so far has not panned out the plans right now.
They sent him down.
Did they?
I mean, they sent him down, yeah.
That's why he got scratched from the Cleveland start.
Friday, he gave up 8 runs against the Rangers. So,
yeah, it was a right move for the Orioles. They made a right move.
Next up is the New York Mets. I hate to say it, but they're going to buy. They have the richest owner in baseball. There's no reason why they wouldn't. They're just going to. Self-explanatory. And they're probably going to go for a couple bullpen arms. I could see them trading Ottavino. So yeah. The New York Yankees are next up on my list. Don't the Yankees, like I said, the Yankees have been doing this since before the 1970s. That's all they do.
I mean,
if you're not
essentially
good
bought
enough,
Babe
you're
Ruth.
getting traded for another player. You're getting traded for another player.
And they essentially bought Babe Ruth.
Oh yeah. And you know why the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth? Do you know the real story why?
Yeah, I do.
They wanted to fund a musical.
Yeah, I do know the reason behind that.
Alright. It's gonna get controversial in here. Here are my 3 biggest sellers at the deadline. This is gonna get kind of controversial. First up, the St. Louis Cardinals. I know you think they're gonna buy. I understand why you could say that. But to me, Cardinals have just been pure disappointment. I could see them getting rid of some guys and just restarting. I don't see them trading Goldie or Arenado. But I could see them trade somebody who they can get for prospects. And when I say even that, I don't mean they're going to sell. I mean they're going to sell a few. They're not going to sell their main players. So yeah, I don't believe that the Cardinals are going to try and buy. I think they're going to sell, and I think they want at some point to start over. Next up is the Oakland Athletics. And you might ask, B, what else are they going to sell? They've sold everything. Esteury Ruiz. That's who they can sell. They're going to continue. I think that's one guy they'll trade away. Honestly, I could honestly see him going to the Braves. Because you know how the Oakland A's are with the Atlanta Braves. Loves to trade with the Braves. I could see a couple of their guys getting traded. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be full-on sellers. But yeah. Alright, in my third team, it's easily the White Sox. It's easily the White Sox. I think the White Sox are going to tear it all down. It's all going down July 31st. It's all going down. I think Tim Anderson gets traded. I think Lance Lynn gets traded. I think Luis Robert. No, I think they'll keep Luis Robert.
I think they'll keep Robert.
But Tim Anderson's gone. He's getting traded at the deadline.
But I could see him trading Cease also for the right price.
Yeah, they'll be willing to trade. All right, next topic. This is an interesting one. I don't know if you've seen this on the news or not. It's been very prevalent for around here. But Orlando is open to building a new stadium for baseball. Should the Rays move to Orlando, or should baseball expand? Meaning add a team in Orlando. I think the Rays should move to Orlando. And you might ask, well, how are they going to do that? They're the Tampa Bay Rays. You could either call them the Orlando Rays or you can call them the Florida Rays. And I think they could change their name to the Florida Rays. Of course, I know we had the Florida Marlins, but I think they could change their name to the Florida Rays. They represent Florida. They are the best team in Florida. They have every right to have the name Florida Rays. And I think that's a right move the Rays should make because they're putting a lot of money into this stadium. They're going to put it right next to Disney World. This would be big for the Rays. This is a big opportunity for the Rays. It's time to get out of the dump. And this stadium that they're building in Orlando is perfect for the Rays. And I know people in Tampa would hate to lose their team, but it's just 60 miles away. It's just 60 miles away. It's not that far. Drive to Orlando to watch the team. Big deal. And you're gonna have a whole new stadium. I think this should be something the Rays capitalize on. Yeah, and if you let's say baseball expanded and added a team in Orlando, like a new team, then you would have to add another team to make it equal. And then you could say, well, they could add the Montreal Expos again. And I know they're the Washington Nationals now, but you could recreate them. I get that, but I just think it's perfect opportunity for the Rays. Especially we were talking about earlier how they should raise their budget, and they have one of the lowest budgets in baseball. This would help them. They're going to get more fans. They're going to get, of course, Orlando, huge tourist city, and you're putting the stadium right next to Disney World. This is every opportunity in the world for the Rays. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I think they should expand. A few cities I've heard that want in a race for expanding. I've heard London wants to be a team that adds. I've heard Montreal wants to get back into Major League Baseball business. I've heard Ontario.
They already have Toronto.
Yeah, but the city of Ontario, I've heard them. They want some of the goods. I've heard Charlotte wants to make a Major League Baseball team to add with already the Hornets and the Panthers. I've also heard Sacramento. I've also heard Austin, Texas, which that's a very big market city, the capital of Texas. I've also heard Sacramento be brought up. I've also heard Mexico City. We all know there's been baseball games now played there in Mexico City. It's leaning towards every sport's going to expand, and there's going to be more teams internationally.
Let me ask you this though: if you're the Rays and you're in Tropicana Field, which is an absolute dump, you don't think this wouldn't be a big opportunity for them?
It would be a big opportunity, But I just think Florida's going to want another baseball team. They thrive on their touristy. And Tampa's not really... Tampa doesn't really have anything big touristy besides the Buccaneers and the Rays. I think that would be a huge
opportunity. You got the ocean.
Yeah, but I think that'd be a huge opportunity for them.
For the Rays, yeah.
For the Rays, but
And they're building it right next to Disney World,
I think
which is one of the biggest tourist
I get that.
attractions.
Yeah, I get that. I just think Tampa's going to try too hard to keep their team in Tampa Bay. Whether it's
so you're saying this should be the move, but you doubt they'll try and do it.
No, I just don't. But I think Tampa will stay put. If they do anything, it'll be an expansion. Because Tampa, I've looked at their funding citywide. I'm looking at it right now on my laptop currently. That's where most of their money comes from. Is Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Bay Rays games. That's where most of their funding comes from.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next question. This is my last MLB question. This is another thing that's been very prevalent, and it wasn't even just in the past week. In the past month. The simple question is Las Vegas the right move for the A's? I think it is because of the Raiders being there, but I could see the argument why some people say, well, we've already found out they can't build a new stadium in Oakland, and it won't ever happen, and it was time to give it up, because Oakland's mayor is, I'm not even gonna say what he is.
He's a cheap ass.
Yeah. And Oakland went from one of the biggest professional sports cities in the U.S. to just nothing. You got to think they had the Raiders, they had the Athletics, and they had the Warriors. They had it all. Of course, back in the 80s and 90s with the A's and the Raiders. I mean, very prevalent. And for a little bit of time, the Raiders were in Los Angeles, but then they moved back to Oakland, and they were really good. When, of course, the Bo Jackson days, and of course, the same time the Raiders were on top, so were the A's. Of course, with Mark McGwire and Ricky Henderson, and I mean that was a big sports city. And then, of course, the Warriors' dominance in the 2010s. And it went from being one of the biggest sports cities in the U.S. to just nothing. It's a dump now. Just a blink of an eye. So I think Vegas is the right move for the A's, but it is sad. And I do feel bad for the people of Oakland. It's bad. But, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Okay. I'm on the opposite side of your argument. I don't think they should move I don't think they should move to Vegas. I don't. The A's have stood with that city for years. I get the stadium's falling apart, but they could do things to renovate it. That's something they could do, but their mayor's too cheap bastard.
Or they could just simply build a new ballpark.
Yeah.
But
They gave away a huge baseball team when it comes to United States history. Even a football team, they gave away the Raiders. Gave away the Raiders like they were nothing.
After the Warriors had those rings. Oh, bye-bye. Who cares? I mean, the Warriors were such a huge market for Oakland.
They gave away everything. And they gave away a huge piece of United States history, too. Because the Raiders were a big part of breaking the color ban during the Civil Rights Movement. So were the A's. you're talking. They had huge players that were big parts of civil rights movement. One who just died recently, Vida Blue.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
RIP.
By the way. But you gave away one of the most historic sports cities in all of America. They were the original California teams. The Giants weren't there. The Dodgers were in Brooklyn. The Angels, they've only been a franchise for what?
The Dodgers didn't move to LA until 1964.
Yeah.
I mean, the A's were the team of California.
The A's
so
were the team of California. The Giants are newer.
The Angels didn't even exist.
The Giants are newer, and the Angels are newer.
And the Dodgers didn't move till 1964.
Oakland, I hope you're proud of what you did.
And especially a team that has a lot of history. The Oakland Athletics are one of the biggest history franchises in baseball.
You gave away one of the huge part of history, and you think you're sitting there with a smile on your face, you cheap scumbags. I think the A's. I don't. That's not their fault. They want something new. They want something renovated. They want something nice.
They just want a new ballpark, even. I mean,
not something that has mice in the radio broadcast booth when they have to broadcast the games in the outfield. Like, do you want that? Do you want to sit and host one of the radio games in a press box full of mouse shit? No. No, the A's wanted something new. They wanted something better. And shame. It's a huge shame on Oakland that they didn't listen. They didn't listen, and now they're regretting the price because they're gonna drop significantly in funding. All their funding is gonna go down the hill. Because you know why? You know why? Because people are gonna go to the city across the bay, over there in San Francisco, which is only a half-hour drive from Oakland.
And honestly, I give every Oakland fan the bandwagon pass to move to the Giants if they want to.
Oh, 100%.
And honestly, though, I also am conflicted because at the same time, I'm like, you Oakland fans should be showing up to the games. Because the only reason they were able to get them to confirm to move to Vegas was the attendance. The attendance was mad low. I think if you wanted to protest it, you should have showed up to the games, even though the team is horrible. That you could be what you are right now. I'd sell out the field. That'd be the way to protest it, but you know.
I think the only reason why they didn't do it is because even if they filled out the stadium, I feel like it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
The stadium's falling apart. The radio announcers, nobody, they broadcast the games from the outfield, from behind home plate. That's where the Indians radio announcers had to host their game when they played at the Coliseum. There was mouse shit. There was black widows found in the bathroom of the owner's box.
And that's scary. That's one of the most venomous spiders in the United States.
That's ridiculous. Now, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's an old stadium, but you let a stadium go that far down that path, that's a little bit embarrassing from a Major League Baseball
And yes,
team.
there has been very old stadiums that are still live and prevalent right now.
Wrigley?
For example, Wrigley and Fenway Park. But the difference between Wrigley and Fenway and the Oakland Coliseum is Wrigley and Fenway, they make renovations and they keep it well kept. Especially, let's just say this, Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium's getting pretty old, but at the same time, they renovate the hell out of it. It has been renovated a lot, and it looks like a new stadium still because they keep renovating it to make it look newer and more modern and look better and sound better. The Dodgers have the best speaker system in baseball. And I know that's random, but it's true. They have the best speaker system in baseball. For one, because it's LA. Two, because they renovate their stadium. Those are brand new speakers that they get. Like, they actually care about their field.
With Wrigley and Fenway, they still made it look like the classic. Like, they still have the same seats from the 1914s, from the 19s.
But the difference is they keep it clean.
They cleaned them up. They made them look better. They repainted them. They didn't make them rust. Because we all know, Chicago and Boston are two places it snows. And snow causes rust. Snow causes potholes. Their parking lots got redone. They got that beautiful grass out there and on the outfield. The nice bleacher seats. It looks nice in Chicago. And I kudos to the Cubs for keeping that stadium afloat, using their city funding that their state senate gave them, and same with Boston too. I mean, they got the only thing that's brand new from that stadium that in the Fenway is their speaker systems and their lights. Those are the only things that are not original from the original Fenway Park since 1914. It's the lights and the speaker systems.
I think I read up on the other day. They said the reason why the Dodgers have like the best speaker system in baseball is because they get the best of the best, and they put it in there, and they get new ones every single season, and it's the best of the best. They replace their speaker system and make it brand new every single year. So, and that stadium's getting old, but like I said, they still make it look modern and new, because, I mean, they care about their stuff. Then you got Oakland over here that just, I get it, that it's part of them trying to protest, and it's not the owner's fault, it's not the team's fault. They're trying to protest so they could build a new stadium in Oakland, and unfortunately their mayor screwed them over. Kudos. That's all I gotta say. Kudos. Like, kudos to the mayor. You just, Oakland's lost all their funding. Like, the only funding they had left was the A's. And the A's were actually, when the Raiders moved to Vegas, if you can remember correctly, the A's were still good. The A's still had a good team. It wasn't until before last year, that they traded everybody away. It's sad. I'm not even an A's fan, and it makes me pissed off. It's... Alright. Moving on from baseball.
My first topic.
Wait. I do have NBA topics. Unless you want to go.
I want to go. I mean, we're carrying on a little bit of the first one, but I'm not going to talk about baseball anymore. I'm going to go. Because then we'll put out some MLB content maybe for the people. But the first topic I want to talk about is Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo, who has failed a physical.
Oh, God.
And could be cut by Vegas by the end of the week, depending on if he doesn't pass the physical again, because of his foot surgery.
It's basically a Carlos Correa situation, but...
Let me ask this. If Jimmy Garoppolo is released and does fail the physical, which team do you think is in the market to get him?
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, the thing is, most of the teams that need quarterbacks decided to draft a quarterback in the draft. I'm
looking at a reunition in San Francisco. With Brock Purdy missing the whole year to Tommy John surgery.
And Trey Lance gonna be out for a little while too.
I think Trey Lance is ready for week 1, I think, from what I heard. But I just think the 49ers lack quarterback, and they would be stupid if Jimmy Garoppolo goes to free agency and they don't at least attempt to make an offer. Attempt.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying if you get him, you don't. If you get him, you get him. If you don't, you don't. But at least you tried to make an offer. Now he could stay with Vegas for all we know. This is just throwing out the things right now as we can see.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave it on to you. What's your opinion on this topic?
It's a very interesting topic. You know, like I said, a lot of the teams that need a quarterback already went out and got one in the draft. But one team that, and you know, I'm high. I love Anthony Richardson. But one team I think that needs to get still, I think should go after Garoppolo. And I know this would be a surprise to a lot of people because Anthony Richardson was picked up in the draft at a very high position. Garoppolo needs, I think the Colts need to sign Garoppolo. The one reason I say this is not for Garoppolo to start, which he should start, but to be a mentor to Anthony Richardson, and kind of help develop Anthony Richardson. I think that would help Anthony Richardson, and it would help the Colts for their future, and it would give them a decent, quarterback to start the year next year. Which I'm not saying Anthony Richardson won't be, but I feel like Anthony Richardson's going to lack experience, and it could affect him in his first year. So I think you could avoid that a little bit by picking up Garoppolo and kind of being a mentor for Anthony Richardson. Because I don't know if Anthony Richardson is fully ready yet. But, yeah.
Okay. The next topic I want to talk about is roughly 3 days ago, DeAndre Hopkins was cut by the St. Louis Cardinals. So, oh my God, St. Louis Cardinals? What is this, fucking 1916? Oh my God. The Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
What are your 4 major teams that should sign DeAndre Hopkins?
Okay.
Number
one.
First,
or am I going
yeah,
first?
I'm going first. Number 1 on my list speaks out to me. Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
Kansas City.
It would suck, but yeah.
They lost Juju to free agency. They lost Nicole Hardman to free agency. I get you have Sky Moore, and I get you draft a receiver.
And but they haven't had a legit superstar receiver since Tyreek Hill.
But why not add a veteran that will help develop those young guys? I get it, he's on the older side, but he's still fucking DeAndre Hopkins at the end of the day.
Right.
My next team, the Dallas Cowgirls. They have CeeDee Lamb and a bag of Dorito chips.
Michael Gallup can be okay at times.
But he's inconsistent and he's hurt more often than not.
Right.
Tobert, who is Randy Moss's nephew, has been nothing but a disappointment. And Dallas let Dalton Schultz walk away. like it was nothing.
Right.
The number 3 team on my list, the Detroit Lions. Now, I say this, they have the young core. But Jameson Williams is going to miss time, obviously. But that
Because
doesn't...
of that whole suspension or...
Yeah.
Something.
But that doesn't mean that you can't have a veteran that can help develop your young guys. You let DJ Chark go. I believe. Let me double check on that. But, I mean, you can never have too many wideouts, really. I mean...
Yeah, just ask the fucking Browns.
I mean, Marvin Jones is getting older, but he's back with the Lions, but he's getting older. But you could use somebody huge to add with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You could have somebody huge go with Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond. I mean, you could have guys. The next team, they have an aggressive GM. I don't think they're going to be like the big top dogs. But another team, Mr. Wide Receiver team themselves, the Cleveland Browns. Reuniting him with Deshaun Watson, a person that he knows, a person that he well respects. Him and Amari Cooper would be a deadly duo in the NFL. Not to mention you have that compensatory with Donovan Peoples-Jones. You got Elijah Moore, who's your traditional slot receiver, would be perfect to add DeAndre Hopkins on the outside.
And you got that rookie.
And you got Tillman, who they could develop the young guys like David Bell and Tillman to be the next era. Maybe like a 2-year contract worth like $40 million. And the Browns have the cap space to do it. With Watson restructuring his contract, he restructured again today. He's down to $840 million a year guaranteed. And that's a huge get. And Watson's just willing to work with the Browns as long as they work with him. And I think adding DeAndre Hopkins would not be the worst thing in the world. Those are my top 4 teams I have as my big guys that should sign DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm actually trying to think of my 4th right now. Let me think real quick. Hold on.
I mean, there's always Philly.
Oh, I know mine. Okay, so here are my 4 teams that I think should go after DeAndre Hopkins. So first up, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I understand the Falcons have Drake London. I understand the Falcons have a little nice young receiver, tandem. But DeAndre Hopkins would still help a lot. And the way I see it, you've been going crazy this offseason, signing a bunch of guys. Why not? That's just the simple words. Why not?
I mean, take a chance. Get an established veteran that will help out the young guys.
Right. He would help develop Drake London. It'd give definitely Desmond Ridder more people to throw to. I think it all works out. Like I said, 2 words. Why not? You've signed a bunch of other guys, and we've really improved this offseason. So why not? Second on my list is the Dallas Cowboys. That they need a receiver. They have CeeDee Lamb, but that's it. There's nothing else. Like I said, Michael Gallup can be good at times, but then when he's bad, he's atrocious. Yeah, I think the Dallas Cowboys need to make a move. Now, here's a team, my third and fourth teams will surprise you. My third team on the list is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville.
They did lose, like you said, Marvin Jones. I could see them adding, I think they should be buyers. They're getting better.
Did you forget they have Calvin Ridley?
I understand they have Calvin Ridley, but I think they could also add DeAndre Hopkins. You realize they made the divisional round last year. They could use another receiver. And DeAndre Hopkins, would really be really big for them. And yes, they also have Calvin Ridley, but you got to realize Calvin Ridley did well as a receiver too under Julio Jones in Atlanta. So yeah. My fourth team on the list is the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, they have Brandon Ayuk. Yes, they have. But like I said, it's just an upgrade. I think it'd be more scary to have DeAndre Hopkins as your receiver 1 and then have Brandon Ayuk as your receiver 2. That'd be a more scary tandem than just Brandon Ayuk being your main guy. And then, of course, you have George Kittle as your tight end. So that's, imagine having to go look forward to as a defense. Not only do you have to worry about the Niners' defense clobbering you, you would then have to worry about the Niners' offense clobbering you because they would have DeAndre Hopkins, they would have Brandon Ayuk, they would have George Kittle, they'd have Christian McCaffrey. Like I said, it's another one of those teams where it'd just be a big improvement. So yeah, that's my fourth team.
And the last topic we're going to touch on tonight.
It's probably the biggest topic of all. It's about the Heat and the Celtics, isn't it?
The Miami Trash Cans are about to blow a 3-0 lead to the Boston Celtics. Now, I get there's this whole negotiation with the ref with that cheating last call. Miami. You had every opportunity in the world to close this series out. And you did something very, very dangerous. You let this series go to 7. Going back to Boston.
Yeah. It's not good.
I don't think the Miami Heat win this series.
No, they don't.
They blew every opportunity they had.
I think regardless of who goes to the finals, I think I got the Nuggets winning the finals.
I 100% got the Nuggets, but I think the Heat would favor better against the Nuggets than the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have been lackluster. Inconsistent offense. Tatum will go off for 27, maybe a triple-double, and then
the next game,
he's like 5 from 19 from the field and 10 points.
Or he's like 3 for 19 and those 10 points came from free throws.
Yeah. Awful. Inconsistency. Congratulations, Denver Nuggets. You are going to be the NBA champions.
As much as I hate the Nuggets, I wanted to get to my next topic. Yeah, it's my last topic, but it also refers to what we're talking about in a way. Do you think Nikola Jokic receives his third MVP in a row this year?
The MVP was already announced.
Oh, is it?
It was already Joel Embiid.
Okay. Let me change up the topic. Was the NBA influenced by Kendrick Perkins' comments
Maybe.
on Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. I don't believe that Joel Embiid should have won MVP. I believe it should have been Jokic again.
I wholeheartedly agree.
And I have a feeling it was just because of what Kendrick Perkins said that the NBA was pressured into giving Embiid the MVP.
I don't remember exactly what that comment said.
He said it would be racist to give Jokic the MVP again because the runner-up has been obviously three black people behind him. The way I see it is, I don't care what race you are, I don't care what ethnicity you are, I don't care what you are. If you are the best player in the NBA, you are the best player in the NBA, and you deserve MVP. Point blank, period. There should be no race brought into it, but of course, you know, in this day and age, I think it's just simply who's the best player in the NBA. And that is Nikola Jokic. It is.
And you complain about white guy winning MVP. LeBron won 3 times in a row as an MVP.
Realistically, LeBron should be the MVP every year. Basically.
And LeBron is black. Oh, you're saying
bringing break.
You're saying it's racist because
but
a white guy wins it 3 years in a row.
Right. One thing I want to ask Kendrick Perkins is this. If you look at Nikola Jokic's season, you look at Joel Embiid's season. Granted, Joel Embiid had a good season. I'm not taking away from that. But are you going to sit here and tell me that after a season that Nikola Jokic just had, which is probably the best of his past 3 years, I think it was better than last year and better than the year before, you're going to sit here with a straight face and tell me he doesn't deserve the MVP? I don't give a fuck what color he is. He is the best player in the goddamn NBA. And if you have a problem with that, then there's something wrong with you. You are the one that is trying to divide us. You are a part of that. What does it matter what color they are? If they are the best player in the game, I don't care if fucking Austin Reeves is the best damn player in the NBA. If he's the best player in the NBA that year, he deserves MVP. It makes no sense. And he got a lot of backlash for that comment, and rightfully so, but I think the NBA was pressured into giving Embiid it because of those comments that Kendrick Perkins made. Nobody was saying that last year when it was both Jokic and Embiid in top 2 running. Nobody was saying it last year. It wasn't even thought of until Kendrick Perkins said something. And even the guys, when they were on the ESPN thing with him, were like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know. It pisses me off. I just want us to be equal. And it's people like that.
Let me ask you this in a similar topic. Do you guys think it was racist that Aaron Rodgers won the MVP 2 years in a row?
And if you say, oh my god, It's not.
And Lamar
He
won
was
it the
the
year
best
before?
damn player in the NFL.
And Lamar won it the year before? You're calling that racist? Cam Newton in 2015? Adrian Peterson in 2012?
And Adrian Peterson probably had one of the best seasons ever by a running back. Running backs don't usually win MVP.
There are numerous black players that have won an MVP.
Especially in the NBA. So...
Bill Russell. I don't know.
Yeah,
did Ewing win an
he has a ton of
MVP? Did Julius?
I think Ewing did win an MVP.
Did Julius Irving win an MVP? I think.
Oh yeah, but yeah, he did. But I just don't get where he's coming from.
The GOAT, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean.
He's as black as you get.
Okay.
No offense, Michael, but he's as black as you can get.
It's.
Oh, you're saying, well, it's a discrimination against white people because Michael Jordan won the MVP 3 times in a row.
Nobody was saying that. Because guess what? He's the best player in the NBA.
Huh?
Okay, we're
just because a little Joel Embiid wins it 1 year.
We're gonna do a stat comparison. I'm gonna look up Nikola Jokic's stats from this year.
Do it.
So
Keep in mind,
2022,
Jokic went further in the playoffs.
In 2022 and 23, he also went further in the playoffs. Let's just say that. Oh my God. 24.5 points. 9.8 assists as a center.
For Jokic?
Yes.
That's really good.
1 steal. But that's still crazy as a center, honestly. 11.8 rebounds per game.
He only had 1 steal the whole year.
Yeah. He shot, oh my God. This is video game numbers. He shot 63% from the field.
That's 8th in the NBA in field goal percentage, by the way.
38th in 3-point percentage.
He's 2nd in rebounding in the NBA. 3rd in assists per game in the NBA.
He didn't average as much points as the past 2 years, but overall he was better.
And also a fun fact, Jokic has averaged a triple-double every playoff game except 1 playoff game. You're telling me that, and that's in the playoff. That's in the playoffs when the time is right.
Joel Embiid.
And you think that doesn't deserve MVP? If that doesn't deserve MVP.
Alright, Joel Embiid averaged 33 points a game. Okay. He averaged a lot of points because he was the main vocal point on the Sixers. So was Jokic, yes, but they also shared points with everybody else. I'm not looking at the points per game. I want to look at the other stats.
What's his rebounds?
Jokic, 10. He had 10 rebounds a game. Jokic beats him in that stat. He had 4 assists per game. Jokic smashes him in that stat. By the way, he only shot 54% from the field compared to Jokic's 63%. And he only shot 33 from 3, and Jokic shot 38% from 3. I only gotta say too that Jokic got his team to the NBA Finals. Joel Embiid flopping on the floor in the 2nd round of the playoffs. I hate Jokic, and I'm sitting here defending him. Do I gotta say too much? Jokic should have been MVP. Oh, okay. It also gives me this stat. I think it also gives me this stat.
Asshole itis per game.
No, like triple doubles and shit. Oh, playoffs. I can look at playoff stats. Ooh. Playoff stats. He averaged 23 points per game in the playoffs. 2 assists! 2 assists per game. And 9 rebounds a game. Oh, by the way, this is the same player that apparently when he does bad, he blames it on the other role players on the team and not himself.
An MVP, if you call yourself the MVP, you don't blame it on other people. You take your own initiative and you say, it was my fault. If you're our so-called MVP,
Boston,
if you're our so-called MVP, why not perform better?
I mean, I get it. He's great. Embiid definitely deserved to be in the conversation for MVP. But, I mean, come on now. And let me just look at Jokic's, like, stats against the Lakers in the, I don't have to say too much. 30 points in game 1, 13 assists and 14 rebounds.
That's a triple-double.
Game 2, 24 points, 8 assists and 6 rebounds.
That's
lost
one.
game 2.
That's one away from a triple-double.
They almost lost game 2. Alright, game 3, 23 points, 12 assists and 17 rebounds.
That's a triple-double.
Listen to this stat line. Game 4, 34 points, 14 assists. Guess how many rebounds? 21.
That's a triple-double.
That is also the most rebounds ever by a player in a playoff game. To close out the series with the Lakers, 32 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. He had a triple-double almost every game that series. And it's not even just about the stats. It's the eye test. Jokic impresses me more than Embiid does. And that has nothing to do with his color.
Because when the Nuggets...
Okay. Let me bring this up. You remember when Steve Nash won the MVP over Kobe Bryant? When Steve Nash won the MVP over Kobe Bryant. Do we remember that? That one was fucked up. And that one was fucked up. Kobe deserved that one. But was anybody back then believing that that was about race?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
They were going based off the stats. Yeah, Kobe had a better season. Kobe had a phenomenal year. Nobody was bringing up race. It isn't until the goddamn 20s that everything has to be about race.
Another thing I think Jokic does better. He admits when he has a bad game. He admits when he's off. He admits when he lets the team down. And all Joel Embiid has to say, well, the role players should have been better. You're supposed to be the MVP. Think of this as the military. Who's supposed to lead you in the war? Your general. Your MVP is like the general.
Oh, by the way, let's look at the NBA standings. Usually the most valuable player helps you lead your team. Oh no, he didn't just lead his team to the best, but to the best record in the West. No, he was number 1 in the West, right? Where was Embiid? They were number 3 in the East. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Oh, and yeah, I don't get it. I just don't. All right, the last 20 NBA MVPs and who could have, should have, and would have won. Okay, I'm trying to look for one where a white player won the MVP, or a black player won the MVP over a white player to prove a point.
LeBron over Curry, I think, 1 year.
Curry is mix.
Is he?
Okay. Yeah, he is. 2002, Tim Duncan winning the MVP over Jason Kidd. When Jason Kidd should have won the MVP. Would they say anything about that then? It goes the same way. Yeah. Nobody was thinking about this until Kendrick Perkins said something. Oh, Tim Duncan won it again over Jason Kidd. 2 years in a row. Huh.
Jason Kidd may be an asshole, but he still deserved the MVP.
Yeah. So,
I'm severely disappointed in the NBA. This is an award you got wrong. This is an award you got wrong. And it was by a landslide that you got this wrong. Because the better player is clear here.
oh my fucking god. Yeah, they really got it wrong in 2002. But, you know.
But wasn't anybody...
Nobody was talking about it race-wise because, you know, nobody cared about the race. It was more about who was the better player. I don't know, bro. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's stupid as fuck. I've proved my point. And when I look at valuable player, I look at a team leader. They're valuable to the team. Jokic is more valuable than Embiid. So, yeah.
What the hell?
What?
This guy's overhanding and cornhole and is a bucket.
Overhanding and cornhole.
Yeah. This dude made it in 4 times in a row. Made it in the hole.
I gotta use the bathroom. I'm back.
How you doing?
I don't know. Doing fine.
I think we're gonna get some gameplay here in a few seconds. Catching some Pokemans right now.
Pokemans.
Yeah. It's called Pokemon Go, dude.
I didn't know people still played that shit.
Yeah, the new gen's out. Can't wait to get that, dude. Pretty good. What game are you wanting to play?
I don't know. Hold on.
I almost have all of Gen 1 complete. All I need is the Lapras, the legendary birds, Mewtwo, Kabuto, Kingdra, Marowak, Celio, Nidoking, and Venusaur. I have Charizard and Blastoise already. Just need the old Venusaur. Bippity boppity boo. Hold a roll. I got a shiny Dragonite who's a big green dinosaur. Dang, what are you munching on? Sounds like that shit busted. Henchman? What the heck are you munching on? Sounds like that shit busted. Man.
Yeah, pizza. Oh.
From where?
Domino's.
Okay. It's not Pizza Hut night. It's either Pizza Hut or Domino's with you. What's everybody's opinion on Domino's Pizza? Is Domino's good?
Yeah.
I swear Domino's is like your favorite pizza place in the United States.
We'll play here in a few minutes. I'm trying to.
Let's get on some MLB The Show, shall we? Huh?
Hold on.
I don't think you have Star Wars Battlefront anymore, do you? I don't think you have Star Wars Battlefront anymore, do you?
I still have it, but I have to download it.
Yeah, it's something we could do for Memorial Day. Kylo Ren's so bad.
Yeah, he's the worst.
His lightsaber's cool though.
How you doing, you old pirate? So good to see you. Sorry, am I interrupting anything? Yeah, I'm responsible these days. It's the price you pay for being successful. You got a lot of guts coming here after what you did.
You're a jittering little thing, aren't you? I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain. You have your moments. Not many of them, but you do have them. From now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
I will never join the dark side. I'm a Jedi. Your overconfidence is your weakness. Greetings, exalted ones. I feel the good in you. I sense you're there. The Sith are all powerful. You are no match for me.
I'm playing co-op.
Yeah, are you on? Oh, you're on MLB.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna end it for the Sports Talk 101. Join us next week, same time.
God damn it! I ended my stream, and that just heard me snacking on pizza.
Until next time, God first, God bless.